Cruising the Greek Islands with Sue Bryant was taken from excerpts of The Cruise Amigos, live from Virginia, August 25th. And as always, we'd appreciate a thumbs up if you like this video. And welcome to the Cruise Amigos live from Virginia. This is the first episode, the first try at merging Chillie chats and the Cruise Amigos, and we're minus one amigo. John must be growing pot or whatever he does on that farm up there in Minnesota. Actually, he's actually working and running a business, so I have no idea if he's going to be able to join us or not. But anyway, I'm Chillie Falls from Chillie's Cruises. The fella next to me, at least on my screen, he's next to me with that has a little bit of thinning hair on top. That's Pete. He's over there in London, where we normally do this show live on Sunday, and we will continue to do live. And our guest today is one of my favorite writers, Sue Bryant. She's also the travel editor of the London Times.
Cruise editor.
Before. Welcome back, Sue.
Thank you. Cruise editor. My editor might be very upset if I took his job. So.
What's your actual title there?
Cruise editor.
Cruise editor.
Not travel editor. That would be very nice. Anyway.
Cruise travel.
Cheers.
All right.
Yeah, cheers, everybody.
You were, yes, absolutely. You were recently on Variety Cruises on the Galileo.
I was.
Down in Greece.
Yeah.
Tell us what we should know about Variety Cruises first.
Well, Variety Cruises is a small family-run cruise line with a selection of different ships. Some of them have got sails, some of them are motor sailors. They're all tiny. So Galileo only takes 48, but they're sailing at reduced capacity. So there were 31 of us. Oh, there it is. Oh, hello. And yeah, they do these amazing out there crazy itineraries. I mean, this Greek one is quite standard for them. But they're going to start in the Seychelles very soon because they're small enough to be allowed to operate there. They operate in Asia. Where else do they go? They've done the Red Sea, and they've got this insane cruise that goes up some river in West Africa, which I'm quite tempted by. So, but yeah, they're really, really adventurous little cruise line, and I love them. I think the whole attitude is fantastic.
All right, we have to pause for a second to introduce Crazy John Reitmeyer from Crookston, Minnesota. Late, but
hey, Sue, I'm sorry I'm late.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Were you flying, John? Were you flying your plane?
No, actually, I'm trying to move my actual mentor. He's 90 years old, and we're trying to move him from Nevada up here to Minnesota, and these talks and lawyers and stuff about that. I say, I gotta go. And they go, yeah, but. And here we are. So.
Well, that's okay. Sue was just telling us about Variety Cruises and the Galileo.
Awesome.
So tell us now about the Galileo.
Well, the Galileo it's a lovely ship. Well, you just saw the picture. It's quite classic. It's got lots of polished wood, and then it's got this sort of really cool yachty touches that would be like on a super yacht. Lovely open air bar on the aft deck and a big sun deck where they've got, that's the bar, happy days. A lovely big sun deck with a big sail over it. So you can, that's the sunny end that you're looking at there. But there was plenty of shade. And then a nice dining room where we would have half board. So this was a half board cruise. And Greece is absolutely perfect for that because you're in port pretty well every night. So you go ashore and you have dinner in a local taverna. So it's a really nice way of having the fabulous food on the ship, but also experiencing local cuisine.
All right. Tell us about the health protocols and changes that have made from how they used to do it to how they have to do it today.
Well, yeah, it's funny, we're so used to it now here, at least. It really doesn't feel that different. To me, the scariest bit was getting into Greece. Because we have to fill in I think everyone has to fill in this passenger locator form. And there's been all this stuff in the news recently about, I got one letter in my name wrong on the form and they wouldn't let me board the flight. And a lot of people have been turned away for getting it wrong. So you fill in the form, which took me 4 goes before I realised how to do it. And then the night at midnight, the day you travel, you get sent this QR code, which they then look at before you're allowed on the plane, and then before you're allowed to check in, then before you're allowed on the plane, and then again in Greece. And then they pick people at random on arriving flights and cart them off for a COVID test, which we didn't have. But a friend of mine went to Greece and he was taken off and tested. And then you have to wait 24 hours for the result. So there's a fair amount of stress for me before we actually got to the ship, because there's all this what if. I was traveling with my kids. What if somebody tests positive and is asymptomatic? Then we're all stuck in a hotel for 2 weeks. Anyway, we were fine. So on the ship, hand sanitizer everywhere, as you'd expect. And the crew are in masks, but they're sort of perspex, transparent masks, so you can see their faces. You're not always looking at someone with half their face covered up. Some pretty cool cleaning devices, which what are you doing?
Wearing my mask.
Oh, well, look, I've got mine. I'll show it to you. They issued us all with these. They're really nice. Look, I really like it.
Oh, yeah, stylish.
Logo on it. Oh, this side.
That's a designer mask.
I know. It is. You know what? It's really comfortable, much more than those horrible white disposable ones.
No, but before you go on, while you're talking about masks, now, Sue, I love you to death, but this is scary.
I'm wondering, don't you?
I'm wondering if you might have had an adult beverage or two when that picture was taken.
It's almost a walk of shame, don't you think? Kind of a walk of shame.
We just embarked, and it was really hot, and I was all kind of flustered, because that's the other thing. Stop laughing at me. That's the other thing. It. Every day, I'll talk about the wonderful gadgets in a minute, but every day they test you. So every day you're sitting there having your coffee in the morning, and the first officer comes around and points this digital thermometer at your forehead, and he goes beep, and then she says 35 or 36. You think, oh, thank God, I'm all right. And then you have a pulse ox thing. You have to put your finger in a little box, and it tells her how much blood oxygen you've got. So every day you have that. So yeah, I might have been looking a bit flustered for that reason. So, but they've got these really cool gadgets, which I've been writing about quite a lot. You just showed a picture of it. Once could that white thing that looks like an alien. It's called Pure Space, and they take it around the ship, and it sort of sprays out this vapor, and it kills not people, obviously. It kills all the bugs, it kills all the virus, it works on smooth surfaces, on fabric, on everything. I would like to have one, but they cost €2,500, and then you've got to get the canister. But the other thing is just a UVC light, which they put it in a room, set the timer, close the door, leave, and it sort of kills all the bugs with this light. So I have to confess, I bought one of those as soon as I got home. So I'm very excited for its arrival, which should be in a few days. Then
I have a question. I have a question, Sue. Also, first of all, Nikki Singleton says hello. So,
hello.
And she said a beautiful ship, which it is. Was this actual work for you, or was it a family holiday? Were you there to report for the Times and the Sunday Times, or was it a family holiday?
It was both. So I was there to write for the Sunday Times, but I took the family along. I paid for the family, so the family came along for holiday. So I took my partner and my kids. So,
and if our viewers wanted to see the write-ups that you do, the reviews that you do, how do they do that? Do they? Is it all on the Sunday Times?
Yeah, there was. It was in the Sunday Times this weekend, and it's still on the Sunday Times website. And it's going in an Australian magazine called Cruise Passenger, and it's going in a magazine here called World of Cruising. Different versions for each one. So, but the Sunday Times will stay there, but you have to subscribe, so it's behind the paywall.
Fantastic. And were you talking about your experience from the airports and how that went to boarding, to the tests, as well as the actual ship and the cruise? Yes. And also just what it's like, what it's like in port in Greece. I mean, Greece had a very, very strict lockdown, and people there wear masks, not walking around the street, but they wear masks in shops, and waiters in restaurants are wearing masks. And there's, you're always scanning the menu on the QR code. There's not really that many. You don't get given a menu in a book anymore like you used to.
And then if you misbehave, they kick you and your family off the ship and you have to go paddle back to shore. Is that correct? Is that how it works?
You're on your way back to the UK, yeah?
Yeah, like that guy in the news today who was found on a surfboard or something. Did you read about that?
No, we didn't.
It's amazing. It's in the news today. A Brit was found on a surfboard near Marbella, the Costa del Sol, and says 3 days ago he fell off a cruise ship. Well, there aren't any cruise ships. So, not
Fell
quite.
off a cruise. It had to be a Brit, didn't it, Sue?
Of course.
You can just guarantee it had to be a Brit. Yeah.
I just want to know what kind of tea he was drinking.
Yeah.
This. I mean, the guy might be a refugee or something, but I think he's probably just a drunk who floated off on his surfboard and he's blaming cruise ships, as if they haven't got enough to deal with at the moment.
It's probably a Long Island tea, John.
Yeah, well, I know.
All right, not that I actually
long enough.
Not that I ever want to ask something serious, but I've never, this is a 157-foot, 3-masted schooner, if I read the facts right.
Something like that.
What is it like on board sailing on a schooner as opposed to a cruise ship that we'd be used to?
It's got sails, so they do put the sails up, but it's not like the Star Clippers ships, which are propelled by the wind. Yes, that's right. You're very off-putting with your dancing.
You have to ignore John.
It's not a Long Island tea. That's why.
Anyway, yeah. So they put the sails up, and they do tell you, go up and have a look at the sails. But I think they are mainly decorative. So motors. I mean, it's a yacht shape, so it handles the water very well. It's pretty windy in Greece, so we did get some bumpy sea, but I love that. It makes me feel happy.
I think you can maybe talk over that, Sue.
You have to click unmute at the bottom to talk over it.
Okay.
That was just like the good old days of sailing. I was back at sea. I was so happy.
All right. Now, I'm not sure. Could anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I could not hear Sue.
Oh, well, I was just saying it was very exciting. I mean, it was about a 2-meter swell, about a 6-7 foot swell. So it was quite big. And it was pretty windy. I mean, I got some sea spray in my gin and tonic, but I was prepared to cope with that.
Then it becomes a salty dog.
Where did you get the sea spray?
In my gin and tonic.
Oh, your gin and tonic. That wasn't exactly what I heard there. Okay.
Yeah.
Must be a language thing or something. Okay.
But we didn't actually sail the itinerary we were supposed to. So we were supposed to go to the Cyclades islands. So Mykonos and Santorini and all the big hitters, but there was a very strong wind there. So they said it would have been like that and more all the time. So we did a completely different route. So, which was fine by me. I mean, it was any route in Greece would be fine by me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, were you worried a bit, because you're with your family, as you know, in the UK, guys, as Sue knows, that we have this red list and it kind of changes every single Thursday, isn't it, Sue? And do you all remember a cartoon called The Wacky Races by any chance?
Yeah.
Well, it seems to me every single weekend we play this Wacky Races game where they introduce another country that's on the red zone, and then suddenly you got all these Brits trying to get home from different parts of the world before they're quarantined at 4 o'clock in the morning. And for me, it's like Wacky Races.
Yes,
it is. and so
4 weeks ago now, I was on a plane on the way to Spain, and they announced quarantine for people coming back from Spain while I was on the flight.
Oh,
so there was no notice. And in order to do my quarantine, so I could then go to Greece, I had to come back from Spain early. And that was really annoying. But so when I got to Greece, I just thought, I don't care. They can do what they want. I'm staying there for the week. I'm not coming back early. And if I have to quarantine again, nobody here cares anyway, I don't think.
Yeah. So you're not quarantined now?
No, because Greece is still not on the red list. And again, there's all this muttering, though, maybe it will, maybe it won't, which is so unhelpful for people who are trying to plan because they just don't know. And our schools go back next week or the week after, I think. So it's,
we got a message, by the way, from Emma from Cruising Isn't Just for Old People. And she's completely confused, by the way, Chillie. Emma says, I'm so confused. that we're the ones who are normally confused. It says it's not Sunday. This is my Sunday routine.
It is Sunday, Emma. Where have you been?
Yes,
It's Sunday, Emma.
You
Where have
missed
you
out on
been?
a couple of days.
It's Sunday. We'll explain another time, won't we, guys? Sorry, Sue. Sorry.
That's all right. Where was I? In quarantine.
In quarantine, Tom. Yeah, in quarantine, trying to get from Spain to Greece, I think, something like that. And
Yeah.
it's a wacky race, yeah. I'm not sure which character it will be. I'm
no
Perfect Pete.
racing for me.
I'm Perfect Pete.
Was it
All right,
Lady Penelope? I
get
can't remember.
Yes, it was Lady Penelope. Yes, Lady Penelope.
With her chauffeur.
Yes, I love
Back
it.
to Galileo, y'all.
Yes, indeed.
Food.
Oh.
I have to tell you, I started drooling when I saw this. Now, I'm not sure. Was that an hors d'oeuvre or
Yes.
what was that?
That was the captain's cocktail on the last night. They
Okay.
did very good canapes on that ship. I mean, all the food was good, but I mean, you could eat an entire meal before you even went into dinner, which we did. So, but yeah, that was it was lovely Greek food. So I think on that plate there were cheese balls and zucchini balls, and there was some calamari. I mean, all sorts. Oh, it's good.
I saw some shrimp, I think.
Yes. Oh, yes, that's right. And they did. Oh, we did. What did we? We had things like baked feta cheese with honey. We had spinach pie. We had fresh fish. We had shrimps cooked in ouzo, which was really, really good. So yeah,
I wouldn't
nobody
want
lost weight.
Oh yeah, that's right up my alley.
nothing near that. I don't want to get anywhere near that.
And now the other important thing about a ship, did it have a hot tub?
No. We didn't have anywhere to swim because every day we stopped and we swam off the ship.
The world is your oyster. Jill.
Yeah, and it was so lovely just being able to jump off the ladder into the water. And if you wanted to swim from the beach, they would take you on their Zodiac over to the beach. So yeah, that was the best.
Where was the? Oh no, that was another one of the clips that shows how the crowded beaches.
For me.
Yeah.
Nobody on the beaches.
No, I mean, that's because we were in a very remote bit of the Peloponnese, but it was the beaches were just beautiful there. I mean, just some were pebbly, some were sandy, some had a few people on, but they socially distance on the beach anyway. So it's there was never any worry about being crowded.
How far would the ship be anchored from the beach? For someone like me, I mean, I'm not the strongest swimmer, so I'd probably drown in my own bath if I had one, to be honest with you. So how far is it to swim to the actual beach? From the back of the back
most
of the
people
yacht?
wouldn't swim to the beach. Most people would just swim around the ship. So we swam to the beach quite a lot, and it would be about a 15-minute swim sometimes. I mean, I think for the first 3 or 4 days, I swam a mile every day. Which I
don't know if you've seen the messages or not, Chillie. Emma has said to Sue, how sad are you to see CMV go?
Well, I'm sad to see any cruise line go. Yeah, it's quite. There was one of the Pullman tour ships sitting in the harbour in Athens, and I mean they've gone into some kind of chapter 11, I think. But I think that ship was probably destined for Turkey. It was very sad.
Terrible.
We lost one in the States today too. Blount.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's also really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately, and I'm afraid there's going to be more until we get going again, whenever that is.
They are not going to be the last. So.
And what do you think about the news today about Cunard delaying sailing until April, I think, 2021, Sue?
Yeah, I mean, just to write off the whole winter. I mean, I totally understand why they're not doing a world cruise. I mean, this is not the right time to do that.
Yeah.
So I suppose the Queen Mary 2 wouldn't be doing its New York runs anyway, because it would normally be on its world cruise in the winter. But the thought of the others, I mean, that I suppose nothing can sail out of the UK because we're not allowed to go on ships yet. And, you know, Americans aren't going to be traveling. So I suppose they just think they're not going to be able to fill the ships. This is just, but it's, I don't know, all through this, we've been thinking, oh, next month we'll be sailing, next month we'll be back. And it seems to be getting worse.
It does.
Not better, unless there's some great announcement going to be made in the next couple of months, which would make everybody so happy.
Do you have any news on that, Sue, by any chance?
Oh yeah.
Any breaking news?
You see, no.
So
Well, at least
they're working hard.
the States now, for the first time and for, I don't know, forever, we've actually got numbers going in the right direction. I don't know how long they're going to stay that way, but we've had a few days of, things looking up, but I'm afraid we're going to be some spikes from the.
See, and we're having the other problem here now, as kids went back to UND, and within 3 days they had 185 of them quarantined.
Yep.
And that affects the cruise, doesn't it? That affects the cruise industry, because how can we start cruising until they sort that out? Sunny Wallace has asked, how was your snorkeling, Sue?
It was nice. Yeah, it was good. The stony beaches, the snorkeling was really good. I mean, look, it's not tropical, but we saw some nice fish. I didn't see anything else. I was hoping to see an octopus, but we didn't. But yeah, it's just.
You didn't see any Englishmen swimming around that just jumped off cruise ships by any chance?
No.
So how was the weather? I mean, you obviously this time of year in that part of the world, it could be a little on the toasty side, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but it is. It was about. So I only speak in centigrade, but it was about 31 every day. So it's quite hot, but it's a lovely dry heat, and there was wind blowing every day. And to me, I don't mind the heat if I can be in and out of the water all day. And sometimes if we'd swim in the morning, have lunch on board, we'd sail all afternoon, then we'd stop in port in the evening for dinner and then stay the night. But sometimes we'd go for another swim in port before dinner. So we really are in the water all day. I mean, we all love the water, so it's
no fear of sharks. Like no shark fear at all. No consideration.
Nah.
No warning. No
sharks there.
What I loved about with Variety Cruises is that you're saying that it's half board.
Yeah.
So you wake up, you have breakfast first of all, but you don't have to get up really early, I guess, if you don't want to.
No.
You can have a lie-in, and you have lunch on board as well, which is lovely.
Days, yes.
Yeah, and then and in the evening you're parked in harbour in port, and so you're able to walk off and you're able to go into town and enjoy the local cuisine. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and
they didn't have any issues because MSC are saying that you have to be with the cruise line. You can't be with anyone else, and if you are, you're not going to get back on board. With Variety, you're able to do it yourself, were you?
Yes, I mean it's 31 people. I think it's a very different risk level from a big ship, and I think MSC have done the right thing, because I think it's the only way a big ship is going to be able to sail at the moment. But a little ship like that, I mean, it's there are riverboats carrying 150 people who are not living in bubbles, and there are private yachts carrying people who are not necessarily in a bubble. So you've just got to think, what is the deal breaker for me? What is the risk I'm prepared to take? So, and everything in Greece is socially distanced. It's not like we're going to nightclubs, which is why I wasn't actually that bothered missing Mykonos and Santorini, because there are a few more cases there. But where we were, I mean, there's been hardly anything. And I never felt crowded. I never felt like I was being pushed around by other people. And when we did excursions, it was in a bubble.
Now, when you're on a half-board fare, what if you don't want to get off the ship that night? You just drink your supper, or are there always like a light menu available?
No, I think, I mean, for example, if you were not feeling well or something, and if you were in your cabin, they would give you some sandwiches or something. But no, it wasn't an option. It wasn't an advertised option.
You're committed to getting off and going to the nearest fishmonger, if nothing else. So.
Well, there are many.
Do you find that the passengers end up going together in town, or do everybody go their separate ways? Or
the places we went to were big enough for everybody to go their separate ways, and we were lots of different language groups. There was a Spanish group, there were some Greeks who obviously knew their way around, there were some French people, there were some honeymooners, and I was in my family group of 4, so I wasn't exactly looking to kind of make friends and have people to go out for dinner with, so we went off on our own. And sometimes I'd ask the cruise director for a recommendation, and that worked really well. But otherwise, you just pick somewhere by the water or somewhere that looks like it has nice fish. It's great.
And for Variety Cruise Line, are they ideal for families? Would you recommend them for families?
Not for families with little kids, no, because there's nothing for them to do. But, my kids are in their 20s, so it's They are very happy to.
I would never have guessed that, Sue. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm thinking that your kids are very young. So,
Hey, Pete, her kids are like you and I dealing with
I'm
John.
going to ask a question about solos as well, because how it would be for solo travelers and the sort of price range, because I did notice on the website that they were doing some deals for solo cruises with no single supplement
And
at all.
before you answer that, you guys, because you're doing this midweek, I was able to jump in because I wanted to say hi to Sue, and I'm so happy to do that. But, you know, these guys are retired and they just get to play cruising all week long. And I'm still the breadwinner for way too many people. So, Sue, it's just so great to see you again. Thank you so much. I have to bow out and go and see a horse man.
And grow pot.
And not counting the airplane. It's not even airplane week yet. So I will bid you adieu and look forward to talking to you again. Just love hearing the stories, and I just want to be there. So thank you.
Yeah, lovely to see you again.
Cheers, John.
Okay, John,
I looked
thanks.
at the time and had to go. So see you guys.
Cheers, John.
Bye.
Yeah, John's back on his plane because he's just started taking his flying lessons again. And I saw a post on about him flying for the first time last week, Sue. So we're kind of winding him up about that, because I posted a photograph of him flying on a plane from like 1910. But Sonny just asked as well, actually. I asked a question. Sonny's also come up with, were there solo travellers? And I did notice that they seem to be doing no single supplement. So what a great opportunity for a solo.
Definitely.
Would you recommend it for solos?
It's very friendly and it's very sociable. I suppose if you're, going off to have dinner in the evenings, do you want to do that on your own? There were people there who weren't couples. So there were two women traveling together, like two friends, and the Spanish group weren't all paired off. So there are people there who, it's not like honeymoon central or anything like that. I don't think there was anybody there actually on their own, but there were only 31 of us anyway. And I'm just trying to think, because I've been on Variety twice before. And I think, yes, you get quite a few groups going on board. So there was a big American group when I went to Iceland, a group of doctors actually, and they weren't all couples. So yeah, I mean, and there were definitely communal tables for dinner. So you wouldn't be sitting at some sad table for one at dinner time. So I'd say if you can get the deals, and if you want to see Greece, then yeah, it's good for solo.
Can you give us an idea of the sort of price that you would expect to pay normally, as on a Variety cruise, roughly?
I think mine, I'm trying to remember my fact box that I wrote. I think it was about, I might be a bit out, but I think it was about 1,600 euros for a week, I think. And that's including the port tax, because they always quote that separately. And
1,600 euros for a week. So if you get the no single supplement with that, what a great opportunity to experience an incredible yacht.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah? And they're very generous. They throw in lots of things, like that beautiful picture of the canapes. There were two parties like that. I mean, they're very generous with the booze, if that matters to you. Obviously, we noticed that, having two kids in their 20s, I noticed these things. And then one night we had this party on the deck with octopus and ouzo, and they were pouring out ouzo for everybody and handing out plates of octopus. I mean, sadly, I don't do octopus or ouzo, but the kids were feasting on it. And then there was some...
If I was in Greece, I'd probably do both.
Most people do, I'm weird.
When in Greece.
Yeah.
Gotta do it.
Plenty of food. I mean, I felt that everything they did was very generous. So it wasn't like they're nickel and diming or anything like that.
The staff on the ship itself speak English?
Oh yes, the whole cruise was. Although we were the only Brits, the whole cruise was English was the common language. So the crew are Greek. The officers are Greek, and the waiters were from Mauritius. So I heard them speaking French to the French people. And I think there was some Indonesians. The deckhands were Egyptian, the ones who hoisted the sails. And we had an archaeologist, Evgenia, who travelled with us, who was the guide. So they carry their own guides. So you don't have to mix with other guides on buses and things. So there was a real mixture. But yeah, there she is. She was really cool. She was great. She was very knowledgeable. That's in Delphi, which we had to ourselves. It was just beautiful.
And she's an archaeologist.
Mhm.
So you had a guide that really knows what they're doing.
Yeah, she works a lot for Variety on the itinerary that we did, which although we did it unofficially, they do that itinerary a couple of times a year for people who are really into the culture and the antiquities, and she escorts that.
What I love what they say on their website, they're embracing the local community, the authentic local experience, using local suppliers, for that's something that's really, really important. So you get a real local feel. Did you feel that was the case, Sue?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we only drank Greek wine. All the food on the ship. I suppose if you really, really didn't like Greek food, you could probably ask for something else. And there was always, on a lunch buffet, there was like 4 or 5 main courses and loads of salads. So, but yeah, you could tell everything was local. I mean, where else are they going to get it from? They sail from Athens every week. They're not going to be sort of bringing it in from anywhere else. So yeah, definitely felt that it was supporting the local community.
You probably need to explain a little about this.
That's my boy. So that's how the new normal is now with the cruise ship buffet. And I think all cruise ships, if they even continue with the buffet, will do that. So the waiter stands there in a mask and takes the plate. They've got gloves on. You don't touch anything. And you wear a mask when you're going around the buffet and you just tell them what you want. So it means it's a bit slower. So there's a little queue builds up, but and my daughter commented that it brought on buffet shame. So if you're helping yourself, pile it all on because you've got to point at things and ask for them.
I've been there. I've had the embarrassment of my plate being collected, Sue, and I'm like, oh dear, I've really gone a bit over the top here, haven't I?
Yes, when they carry the plate for you and this can hardly hold it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some people were not ashamed and would take 2 plates each or just go back again and again. So, but yeah, that's how it works. And then we had dinner on board twice, and that was 3 times, and that was from a menu, and it was just normal menu service. So,
what's included in the cruise with Variety? What's included in the fare?
Well, the meals as I've described. So at least 2 meals every day, and some days 3. 3 parties with free flowing booze. The port taxes are included in the price I said, which I might be a little bit out there, and they've got lots of offers at the moment. Tips are not included. So I thought the crew were fantastic. So I tipped the full recommended amount, which was €13 to €15 per person per day. I mean, they don't hassle you for tips, but they work really, really hard. What else is included? What else would be included in a cruise? The health check, the masks. The masks are free.
And did you feel the tips were more personal then, being a smaller crew than the large ships?
Definitely, absolutely, yes, because you know who they're going to, and you really do want them to be rewarded because they were so friendly. Especially when you're traveling with. I mean, I can't call my kids because they're young adults now, but when you're traveling with young people, the crew always kind of identify with them and always make friends with them. So,
when did Variety resume cruising again? So, when did they start doing it?
End of July. Yeah, it was the last week of July. I think my cruise was, the 4th, the 3rd or the 4th.
Are all their yachts and ships sailing? Do you know? Or
no, only that one.
Only that one.
Yeah, only the one. I mean, they kept saying to us, "You are the only people sailing in the Mediterranean," and I thought actually that's not strictly true because Ponant are sailing. I didn't want to be a pedant, but and MS started that week while we were there. They left,
and also the Catarina line are sailing.
Oh, what's that? I don't know that one.
Yeah, you see that's
in Croatia.
Oh,
we did, of course. That's a show we did on Sunday with Daniel from the Catarina line, and they're a Croatian line. And they got some incredible cruise ships. They got 62 ships in all. I know they're a family business, 62. And starting with the smaller ones, with the wooden ones, were more for backpackers, I was saying, to the luxury ships. But out of the 62 ships, they've only got 5 ships sailing at the moment as well.
Wow. So. And now Croatia's on our quarantine list, I think, isn't it?
On the list.
Yeah, back in the wacky races. And there were 17,000 Brits in Croatia. So you had 17,000 wacky races trying to get back. It's mad.
But it is funny. being without any other ships. It's really weird. You know, you're so used to spotting other ships and seeing them in port, and there was just nothing. It was really empty.
When you went on into town on an excursion, well, first let me ask: were there excursions like we're used to from major cruise ships?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you could actually go off the ship and do something.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
and then come back.
They did 3. I mean, because we were on an unplanned itinerary, as we weren't in the Cyclades, but the Peloponnese, there's all these incredible sites. So some people went to Epidaurus, some people went to Olympia, and some people went to Delphi. And we chose to go to Delphi. Had we gone to the Cyclades, there would have been probably a bigger program of excursions, and you pay extra for those, but they were really good. And yes, it's the same. You wear your mask on the bus.
Do you know you didn't go to Epidaurus, Sue?
No.
Do you know something? That place has something in my heart.
Oh.
Because not only was my first ever trip abroad to Greece as in 1982, could you believe? I think I was 21. I was actually working with the National Theatre at the time, and we were doing a show called the Oresteia, and we were lucky enough to do 2 performances in Epidaurus.
Oh, amazing!
In front of 15,000 people, including the Greek government. And It was probably one of the highlights of my acting days, because it was like you were going back 2,000 years. This is the Greek national play, the Oresteia. We were fully masked, we were dressed how they were, and we were performing their national play in a theatre which is 2,000 years old. And so I just felt it was just when you mentioned that, it's just one of the most wonderful places I have ever been to in my life.
Damn, I feel guilty now for not going there.
Yeah.
When you were in town, I guess, in the evening.
Yes.
You go to a local
Taverna,
restaurant, tavern, whatever.
Yeah.
What kind of prices could one expect to spend for a decent dinner? And
it was really good value, and that's another reason I'm glad that, or I'm not sorry that we didn't go to places like Santorini, which are more expensive. So we had an absolute blowout meal in Nafplion, which is a beautiful town, and the town was absolutely buzzing, and all the bars are busy, and all the people were all walking up and down the waterfront, and we sat on the waterfront, and that cost about €100 for 4 of us, and we eat a lot, and that includes drinks. And it goes on, the whole meal goes on, and then they keep bringing you, they say, oh, you know, have some watermelon, it's on us, have some baklava, it's on us, whatever. And then we had a fantastic meal in Monemvasia, which is this incredible fortress town, inside walls. And that was the only time I went indoors the whole trip. And it was in a restaurant that was almost like in a cave. And we had meze, so just lots of small plates. And again, wine from the family's vineyard. It was wonderful. And that cost €70, and that was for 4 people. So I think that's incredibly good value.
I spend that. Hell, I spend that going to McDonald's.
That's because of what you order, Chillie, isn't it?
A hell of a meal.
That's as you said, you know, that your title, cruise editor of the Times and Sunday Times. That's correct, isn't it?
Yep.
And so, obviously, by definition, you need to be able to write about cruises. And this is obviously at a time when most of us cannot get on a cruise, which is so frustrating. Have you got any cruises booked up at all in the near future? And what are your hopes for the cruise industry?
Well, the first question, I've got one. On Thursday, I'm going to Germany on a river cruise.
Who's that with?
With Viva Cruises. And that's on the ships that are used by a lot of the ships are from Switzerland. They're from a company called Scylla. And they provide the ships for, I never know how you pronounce it. Is it Tauk or Talk? That's the American river line. And Riviera Travel here in the UK, they provide ships for them. So this is Viva Cruises. So doing a mini cruise from Dusseldorf to the Rhine Gorge and back, which, you know, before I would have thought, oh, you know, another cruise on the Rhine, but now I'm really excited. That's it. There's nothing.
How big was that? How big would the boat be? How many people on there?
Oh, I haven't done my homework yet.
I'll put you on the spot now. I do so.
About 150, I think.
Wow.
Whether they Whether they run it at that occupancy, I
Of
don't
course,
know.
now you realize you're going to get invited to come back and talk to us about that.
I'll take lots of videos.
Fantastic. And you'll be writing about it for the Times at
Yes.
some times, will you?
Yes.
So our viewers can actually see the write-ups. And do you write every day? Do you post every day, or is it an article at the end of it? How it went?
Oh, no, I'll write a piece at the end of it, a one piece. I mean, I might do social media while I'm there, but and then then I'll write my piece, and then it will go up.
And
do you have a chance, and I don't even know, of a Wi-Fi signal enough when you're on one of these ships to do a quickie, a live stream?
I would never rely on cruise ship Wi-Fi to do a live stream.
So you're going by yourself too, are you, on this one?
My partner's coming with me.
Oh, your partner's coming, yeah. And so do you think you'll be the only Brits on board?
I don't know. Not necessarily, no. I don't know.
Well, I really hope that they don't put Germany onto our red list, so you end up becoming part of the wacky races again.
I won't. I work from home. You know,
Okay.
I'm very lucky. You know, it's easy to be dismissive of quarantine, but I do appreciate if you've got to go out to work and you've got kids who've got to go to school, it's not going to happen. But I'm really lucky because I lead a very quiet life when I'm not cruising. I just sit here writing with my dogs. And
do you let your hair down when you're on the cruise? Do you go a little bit crazy and wild on the cruise?
Oh, insane, yeah. On a river cruise.
I'm the same. That's what I do.
No.
So what do you think? What do you think the future?
What do I think?
So what do you think? What do you think the future is? David, by the way, Apperton has just said a quickie on board, Chillie.
Yeah. Ask David Appleton if he enjoyed it. That's my beloved.
That's the Americans for us.
No, he's not American. He's my beloved. He's here.
No, I meant Chillie. I meant Chillie being American too. That's all.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, different language to us Brits. That's all.
Indeed,
that's where David just brought that up. The quickie on board. We all know what that means, David. Yeah. So, what do you think the future's that? What do you think the future's going to happen? You know, because we've got MSC starting now. Are you proud of how MSC have started and there's been no issues so far? And they seem to have done an incredible job.
Yeah, I'm delighted that MSC kicked off those 4 people who broke the rules. I think it's a real strong, show that they're not putting up with anything and that you really do have to stick to the rules. And I very much hope that MSC continues to operate successfully in this way because they are trailblazers doing this. And I wish, Costa are starting, we hope, and they're only Italians and they're only cruising around Italy. So, but as for the rest, some cruise lines seem very upbeat, some just seem very downbeat. And, all we need is for the CDC to agree that ships can sail and the Foreign Office here to, banning us. Although I have to say, obviously I broke the rules by going to Greece on a cruise, but I got insurance for our trip. It was very easy.
You speak about insurance, Sue. Actually, I'm really glad you said that because one of the things I was really worried about was being able to afford insurance to go back on a cruise. That might price me out, especially anyone who has any underlying conditions. Now, for instance, MSC were charging something like $20 for their COVID insurance, and Virgin Atlantic have just announced that if you book a flight with Virgin Atlantic, that you're going to have COVID insurance included for peace of mind, and they will sort things out. Is that fantastic news? It
is, yes. And I think there's another airline that's actually insuring you against death, isn't it, from COVID, like paying for the funeral or something. The insurance. I have an annual policy, but it doesn't cover COVID and it doesn't cover cruising. So I took out a policy for the 4 of us that covered cruising, but not COVID. But because we're still our EHIC cards, this is our EU insurance, medical insurance, are still good until December, I think. I felt that we'd covered all bases for that. What will happen after we've left the EU, it will be different. But hopefully by then we'll have a vaccine and we won't be worrying about this nearly as much.
Wow.
I was a little bit disappointed that MSC actually canceled the Magnifica.
Yeah.
But that had nothing to do with COVID. They didn't have people. Didn't have enough people to go.
No, it's because there's some new level of difficulty for Italians to get into Greece.
Yeah.
And maybe the Greeks are insisting on some quarantine or something. I'm not sure. But I think that put people off. I mean, obviously, the market's Italian. It put them off booking because I don't know what the complication is, but I think they've cancelled 3 cruises, haven't they? 2 or 3?
Yeah.
It must be a minefield for the cruise lines because Greeks can't go to Italy, or Germans can't go to Greece, and Brits can't go to Germany, and can't go to Spain. It's trying to work out who can go where. And Americans, I think, can go anywhere now, if I'm correct.
No, nowhere. I don't know. Who will have you?
Did the Americans do
Nobody.
no quarantine? Didn't the Americans release a thing where you don't have to quarantine for 14 days anymore?
That was the CDC is no longer requiring a quarantine.
So what does
But
that mean?
the states still are. I mean, like New York, New York allowed 5 more states now that can go in and out of New York, but they still have 30 some that can't. Like I'm in Virginia, I can't go to New York.
If you had to make an educated guess, Sue, how do you think cruising, and when do you think cruising will start from the UK again for us Brits to jump on a ship?
Next spring. They've got the whole winter because we don't cruise from the UK that much in the winter. I mean, there would have been no-fly cruises down to the Canaries, and Hurtigruten are starting in February, I think. February, March. They're planning to do these Northern Lights cruises. So maybe for that.
Spring.
But I would think the spring we will hopefully. But look, what do I know? What do I know? Is
you don't think P&O would think maybe we could get the Iona out to the Canaries and back in through our winter? You don't think that might happen?
They're saying they're going to take delivery of it before or during the autumn. But how? You know, where is it going to go? How many people will it have on it? What will it have on it? And will the Foreign Office allow it? I think there are some very tiny ships sailing in Scotland that have gone around the rules. Majestic Line is starting up, only in Scottish water. 10 people on board. They're tiny little fishing boats, which I've been. Yeah.
That's interesting because we have our Scottish ladies on the show tomorrow. We're doing a special tomorrow with our Scottish ladies, so we'll find out about that with them.
Who's that? Do I know her?
Rona and Alison.
Rona and Allison. They're two of our regulars, and they had a girls' day, not a girls' night out, a girls' day in Edinburgh last weekend. And so I said, well, we're going to do a chat, because I got to find out if they misbehaved. Actually, they have some lovely pictures, and I know there's one tear-jerking story from this trip of theirs. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting chat with just 2 lovely, normal ladies that like to travel.
So if they wanted to, they could now jump on a smaller ship in Scotland. So they can do that.
Starting in a couple of weeks, I think, or maybe it's even this weekend. But Majestic Line is starting. I think they're pretty well sold, but yes, there are. I mean, it's just bizarre when you think how many cruise ships there would normally be around, and now we're talking about ships with 10 people and 30 people and tiny weeny little ships. It's just wrong. Obviously I love it, but
I'm the first one to admit I'm guilty of American arrogance in that as much as I know about cruising, and I've been cruising since most of you guys were born, I don't know the first thing about cruise lines. I had no idea that there was a variety cruises. I didn't know anything. I didn't know about Katerina when I talked to Daniel the first time. There's bazillions of these little companies that travel that I'm just ignorant of totally. So,
well, lots to discover then when we get going again.
Oh yeah,
lots of cruising to do. So when we get going again,
next year could be an amazing year for launches and things. But I mean, we just got to hope. I mean, we're still hoping that Saga will launch their ship this year. We're still hoping that Silversea will launch Silver Moon. Oh dear, my dogs are barking.
They wouldn't be part of the show. That's why.
Now, Saga, I'm surprised my cats haven't been here.
I think your dogs are actually barking at Chillie's cats, so I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, they need a word.
The Saga was saying that they're doing a cheap insurance as well, if I'm correct, which I think is a good idea.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's quite hard for people of a certain age to get insurance and COVID insurance. So, but First, we'd like Saga to launch their ship. Please, Saga, will you launch your ship?
Yeah.
And
Well, Sue, I gotta thank you for being with us. This has been wonderful. Again, you're our, we're trying something new today. You're our guinea pig.
oh well.
And as we knew it would be, it's just been wonderful, and I can't thank you enough. I've certainly enjoyed learning something about a new cruise line and a new way of cruising.
Absolutely.
So, and good luck in Germany, and we'll talk to you when you get back.
We will be watching everything that happens in Germany. So we'll be watching you, having a great time at the other half in Germany. We can't wait to follow you doing that.
And to all of you guys that are watching, if you're available tomorrow, 3 o'clock my time, and that's 8 o'clock for you folks that talk funny over there in England. We're going to talk with Rona and Allison about their Girls' Day in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So that's it for today. Again, Sue, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see everybody next time. You guys have a great day.
Salute, Sue. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. Bye.
That wraps up Cruising the Greek Islands with Sue Bryant. I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.